Hello everyone, it's Thor here and welcome to another video. I've already done my top 10 Transformers of 2021 and now it's time to do my top 10 action figures of 2021. I'm also going to throw in some disappointing figures and the worst figures of 2021 as well. And I think that's where we're going to start with the most disappointing figures of 2021. And unfortunately, they're all Star Wars Black Series figures. So we've got the deluxe Boba Fett here. We have got Cal Kestis here as well. And I'm also going to throw in, even though it's a good looking figure, Lando from Return of the Jedi. Now, these look good. It's just they're disappointing. These two are disappointing because of the price points. The deluxe figures are basically starting to price me out of the Black Series game to the point where in 2022 I'm only going to get the newer figures from the newer materials like Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, these £34 for a deluxe figure is far too much for what you get. And these two were classed as deluxe figures. And Lando here, I'm just feeling a little bit bored with the original trilogy stuff because we've had all the main characters now, and even this is a good looking figure. It's not the most dynamic, and we're at the point now where we're getting characters who wore in outfits that they wore for like 5 seconds on the screen or whatever it might be. And I know that's great, and a lot of Star Wars collectors are into that, but not really me. And it's getting to the point now where the decent-ish characters are being put into deluxe price points, and I suppose the background characters are just being charged at like £24 to £25 now. So yeah, these, even though they are decent figures and they look good and I don't know, I just haven't really felt the Black Series this year, and that's why I'm going to make a little bit of a call on what I collect next year to do with the Black Series. These figures, and there's probably a few more from the Black Series, have been the most disappointing for me. And the worst figures, well, if you've watched my top 10 Transformers of 21, you will know what the worst Transformer was, and it's also probably the worst action figure I bought this year. This is Transformers Red Starscream. It is an action figure because it doesn't transform. It's terrible. It's awful. It's rubbish. I hate this thing. I'm probably going to try and sell it because I've still got the box. But yeah, he's not a good figure. He's a big disappointment, and the red line as a whole has been pretty poor, with one exception which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But yeah, definitely the worst purchase I've picked up this year was this guy, even though he's only £10. But with that aside, I'm going to throw in there Super 7 Conan as well. And even though this thing looks great, it's got a few fundamental flaws that shouldn't be in place for the most expensive action figure I bought this year. This was about 55 quid, I think. You know I'm a massive Arnie fan. You know I absolutely love Schwarzenegger. But a couple of things on here. It comes with a different head sculpt, and the skin tone of the head doesn't match the body for that alternative head sculpt, so you can't actually use it. And this sword is just Poundland quality plastic. To me, this should have been a big chunky plastic sword, and it's not good. I can even see my finger through the sword. It is that thin. Yeah. It's a decent likeness of Arnie, but this is not a £55 figure. And it's actually put me off buying anything else Super 7. I think this is the only Super 7 figure I've actually got. And I know there's some Transformers being done, being the Ultimates line. And it's made me think twice about picking up any of those, because this, for the price, is really poor. And this sword is just unforgivable for me, how rubbery it was. So, putting Starscream to one side, he was only a tenner. He was 55 quid. So he's probably the biggest waste of money, lowest value for money of a figure I have picked up this year. So in at number 10 is something cheap and cheerful that we're all able to pick up from Smith's if you were so into it. It's Lanyard Toys Predator, and I've gone for the half cloaked Predator from Predator 1. It's just a cool thing, right? It's flawed. It has flaws. These weapons feel cheap, but not as cheap as that Conan figure. But it looks good. It's got decent articulation. It's got a bends at knees. It's got rockers at elbows. It's got all the articulation you kind of need for this Predator figure. Yeah, the waist joint's a little bit odd, but these were less than a tenner in Smith's. and they're a lot of fun, and you can just walk into a shop and pick one up, and they look decent on display. They scale well with your NECA figures. I think it was a win, and just a bit of fun for £10. That's why it's made it into the list. This thing is a cool figure. Now, I could have picked a number of figures to come in at number 9 from this line, but I picked the first one I picked up, Skeletor. This is Masters of the Universe Revelations. I've picked up a few of these. They're going really cheap now. I think He-Man isn't the best. It was close to making it into the disappointing figures, but he missed out. But a lot of the other figures have been great, absolutely great. Evil Lyn's great, Beastman's great, Man at Arms is great. But Skeletor was the one that I first picked up, and probably the most expensive one I picked up as well. This was $22.99 when I bought it, and now they've been reduced to like £12. It's a fun figure. It's a decent representation of Skeletor, probably the best representation of Skeletor I've got in my collection. I've got the Origins one, but I just prefer this as a Skeletor. I think it's awesome, and yeah, it deserves to be in the top 10. I don't very often bring in a figure into the top 10 that I've already just purchased, but I had to make an exception for this guy, Transformers Red, reformatting Megatron. Mine's had a bit of a problem, and I've started to film a video on this, but basically due to how Hasbro packed this thing, his cannon snapped off the back when I was taking it out of the packaging. Managed to glue it, it fits on fine, no issues now, just got a little bit of a mark down the one side. But putting that to one side, this thing is great. This is what the red line should be like, and I heard that the Megatron was the best in the line. Now to have it repainted into him being reformatted into Galvatron, he goes lovely with my reformatting Galvatron figure that was a PulseCon exclusive, and I just think he's great. He's perfect. This mould is perfect for this kind of thing. It doesn't need to transform. He's great. Absolutely stunning little figure, and only just released, so if you see one, I recommend picking one up. Next up, I bought a fair few figures from this line in 2021, but I've got to the point now where I'm probably going to sell all of them on because I fell out of love with them. I don't see the point in continuing, but this is one figure, well, a two-pack of figures I picked up, and they're absolutely going to stay in my collection. It is Snake Eyes and Timber. Great two-pack. This is a great representation of Snake Eyes. I wanted a version of Snake Eyes because I had the original figure when I was a kid. To have Timber in there as well is awesome. These have worked really well. The other version of Snake Eyes I've got is a bit floppy, and I'm finding I don't have a lot of fun with the G.I. Joe classified stuff anymore. This figure is a load of fun and he's great. But unfortunately, G.I. Joe classified for me as a collector is coming to an end, unless it's like the odd figure. Probably going to hold on to Baroness and maybe one or two more, but I'm going to sell 90, well, I'd say 80% of the Joes I've got, and move them on and get into homes who appreciate them, because I've actually packed them away now. But these two are great figures and probably the best that the line have offered. Next up is Hugh Jackman Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine for me, and this figure is just awesome. I also picked up the Professor X and Magneto 2-pack, which was really close to being in here, but I love this thing. Absolutely stunning. I was shocked that when we got these announced, and I think this is the Amazon exclusive version where he's wearing a vest instead of the jacket. But I think it's great. The lightness is great, especially on this head, and I love the early X-Men films. And it's a load of fun, and it really does look like Hugh Jackman. So we're into the top 5, and a figure of a character I've wanted for a long time. He got a re-release this year with better face painting, and I'm happy to have him. It's Doctor Strange. He was a real big gap on my Marvel shelves, and this figure surprised me how good it was, how much fun it was, how much it looked like the actual screen version of the character. The likeness is stunning, and yeah, I just think this is a great figure. It's probably not the most dynamic because of all the overlays and everything like that, but it captures the character, and Doctor Strange is a pretty awesome character and was key to the Infinity War. So yeah, in at number 5, Doctor Strange. Another Marvel legend in at number 4, it is Fat Thor. Now this thing is great. It's got a great likeness of Thor. Brilliant. I love the effects parts. I love the Mjolnir and the axe. I forget what the axe is called now. Stormbreaker, isn't it? Yeah, Stormbreaker. Are in clear plastic for the lightning. I think this looks great. I wanted a decent likeness of Thor. I would have preferred the non-fat Thor. But you know what, this is definitely the best likeness out there of Chris Hemsworth, and it's great. It's absolutely great. Yeah, he struggles to stand up a little bit and he uses cape as a little bit of a stand, but it's a great figure. Must have for the endgame shelf. And yeah, it's just a good looking figure. I would have liked a few more heads with it, but I've actually moved on all of my other Thors now, including my Bro Thor, because this is the only one I really need because it's the best one out there. Next up in third place, and I am going to call this an action figure, it is the Bandai model kit Mandalorian. This thing is great. This thing does exactly what the Black Series figure should have done. It comes with some great accessories. It's a lovely figure. It comes with a decent cloth cape, which again the Black Series figure didn't come with. The Darksaber, the Beskar spear, he's got his pistol, he's got his rifle. Yes, you have to build this yourself, but that was part of the fun and appeal. I went for the better silver version of him, which was a little bit more expensive. But this thing was a load of fun to put together, and it looks great on the shelf. So, yeah, in at third place, we've got the Bandai model kit Mandalorian. So in second place, we've got a figure from the Marvel What If line. It is the one that started off a little bit of a what if obsession with me, and definitely deserves to be in number 2 on this list. It's Captain Carter. Great likeness, great figure. Yeah, it's got a few flaws. Like you'd like her to look up a little bit better than what she does, especially if she could ride the back of the Hydra Stomper. But this line of figures was definitely the best wave in 2021 of any toy line, in my opinion. Strong all the way through. Apart from maybe Nebula was a little bit weak, but she came with a load of the Watcher parts, so it's kind of forgivable. But the Zombie Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all of them were decent figures. The Hydra Stomper's great. But because Captain Carter was the first one that started it off, and I still think she's probably the strongest one in the wave, she deserves to be in second place. And what a lovely figure it is. Now, some people might see this as a bit of an odd choice, but there is a reason behind me picking this figure. This is a figure I have picked up more than any figure this year. I've played with it, I've posed it, I've swapped the heads on it, and because of that reason, it has to be the best figure of the year, right? Because I've played with it and bothered with it more than half of these figures I've had on the floor. Captain Carter's great, but I've posed it a few times, stuck her on the shelf, and that's it. This figure has remained on my desk for the majority of the year, and it has been the most fun I've had with an action figure in a long while. It is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales. Now, I know this might shock a few people, but the aesthetic on this is great. The posability on it is just utterly incredible. Like, it moves and flows. It feels like a more expensive figure than what it is. You get a couple of head sculpts on this as well, so you can take that head off and stick on an unmasked version of Miles Morales. But this figure is utterly fantastic. I ordered it on the back of watching Into the Spider-Verse with my son, and I thought, I'm going to order that because we really enjoyed watching that film. So I picked up this Miles Morales figure, and that's it from me. That's my top 10 action figures of 2021. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favourite action figures were. Let me know what you're going to be up to in 2022. For me, as I say, my focus is mainly going to be around, from an action figure point of view, Mandalorian and Boba Fett related Black Series figures. I'm going to part the original trilogy unless there's an outstanding character, like a new Jedi Luke, for example. I think my Marvel's going to be focused mainly around the odd MCU character that might fill a hole on the shelf. Maybe if there was a new Falcon or whatever it might be. I am definitely up for some more What If figures if those are released as well, which would be pretty awesome. Maybe some more Masterverse stuff. I doubt I'll pick up many more G.I. Joes, but I think moving into 2021, my main focus is going to be mainly Transformers, but also the odd action figure. Anyway, have a happy new year, and until next time, I've been Zort Rider. I'll catch you again really soon.